Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Psych Talk. Today, I will talk about Major Depressive Disorder, MDD, and Persistent Depressive Disorder, PDD, and also the difference between the two. Sometimes it's very hard to distinguish the two because there is some overlap, but I will try to make it easy for you guys to understand. So, a person with major depressive disorder is when she or he experiences intense feelings of sadness, hopelessness, emptiness for at least 2 weeks, and they really affect a person's ability to function. Some key symptoms may be feeling extremely down or sad most of the day, losing interest in activities that used to bring joy, like hobbies or hanging out with friends. That's called anhedonia. Changes in sleep, so like not being able to sleep or sleeping too much, feeling tired all the time, even when resting, thoughts of worthlessness or guilt, sometimes even thoughts of suicide. And you may also have psychomotor agitation or retardation, which is basically you're either like restless, so you're like fidgeting a lot, or you're like extremely slow. You may have a diminished ability to think or concentrate. You may be indecisive. There can be a significant weight loss or weight gain. And basically, five or more of the symptoms that I just described have to be present during the same 2 week period, and also represent a change from previous functioning. I will give an example to make it easier. So let's say we have this individual named Bob. Let's say he used to love painting, right? But suddenly he doesn't even feel like picking up the brush, and he's exhausted all the time, even though he's sleeping for like hours. And he stopped going out with friends, avoids family, and just feels numb. And this goes on for weeks, and no matter what he tries, he can't just, he just can't function normally as before. Now, for persistent depressive disorder, or PDD, it's a type of depression that is not as intense as major depressive disorder, but it lasts much longer and sometimes for years. And in fact, to be diagnosed with this disorder, you have to have it for at least 2 years. And that doesn't mean, though, that major depressive disorder cannot persist for many years. It's just that it presents differently, and it's usually have to last for at least 2 weeks. Okay, so the key symptoms of persistent depressive disorder are feeling low or down most of the time for at least 2 years, trouble sleeping or sleeping too much, low energy or feeling tired often, low self-esteem, difficulty concentrating or making decisions, and feelings of hopelessness. For example, let's say now we have an individual named Joe. Joe doesn't feel super down, but he always feels like, and he feels like he has been dragging through life and never really feels like happy, but also not completely miserable. He's able to go to work, but it feels like a constant like uphill battle, and he has been feeling this way for as long as he can remember. And though he's functional, life just doesn't feel great. So comparing MDD and PDD, one of the biggest differences is the intensity and duration. So major depressive disorder, um, it's it's very overwhelming and it's hard to get back up. Um, the key with MDD is that it comes in episode, so meaning someone can have a period of intense depression and then eventually feel better for a while. Um, but those symptoms have to persist for at least 2 weeks, and then you may feel a little better for a week and then have, again, those episodes of major depressive disorder. Whereas PDD, it's like less intense than MDD, but it can, last for years, and it's like every day, it's like without breaks. So you constantly feel down, but it's not as intense as MDD. So let's go back to the example of Bob and Joe. So Bob has major depressive disorder, and Joe has persistent depressive disorder. So they're both dealing with depression, but Bob feels like a heavy weight all of a sudden. He can't sleep, doesn't want to get out of bed, feels like nothing matters, and then after a couple of months, he can start feeling better. But that intense period was very, very hard, and he may have, again, this period of major depressive disorder. And Joe, on the other hand, he has been feeling low for years. He has never been as intensely sad as Bob, but his depression feels more like a slow burn, so always there, making life just a little bit harder. Some treatment options for both can be cognitive behavioral therapy, which can help with reframing negative thoughts and building coping skills. Self-care, exercising, sleeping well, and stay connected with loved ones. But mainly cognitive behavioral therapy can be very beneficial, and sometimes people like to take medications like antidepressants that can help balance chemicals in the brain that affect mood, but definitely therapy should be the first option. And that was it for today. I hope that I made that simple and clear. I know it can be a little bit confusing, especially because the symptoms they kind of overlap. So hopefully I made it simple for you to understand. So again, major depressive disorder involves intense, short-term episodes of depression, while persistent depressive disorder is a longer-lasting, lower-grade form of depression that persists for years. Thank you for listening.